So it's a wonderful feeling to know that by what you do today and how you live your life from this moment, it's good, it will affect your future. It's so good that you can actually do something yourself. In fact, only you can do it. Hello. Please come in. Yes. Please come in. Are you comfortable on the floor, or would you prefer to sit?
There's some place.
Yeah, yes. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. So, where was I? Talking about, what was I talking about? I have no idea.
The pain
that is yet to come is avoidable. And yeah, I was trying to say that nobody can do this for you. And that's the thing you have to learn. Teachers can share their love. They can pass you some energy. They can give you the teachings, but they can't do it for you. The yoga teaching is you got to do it yourself. I'm sorry. You know, I'd be lying to you if I told you it's very easy. Once you get going, it becomes so easy. It does, because you get so much joy from it. But you've got to get going first, and that takes time. But only you can do it, but it's the best thing you can spend your life doing. You know, instead of running away from who you really are, instead of trying to find and try to be like somebody else, you just spend your time finding out what your mission is on this earth, why you are here, for what reason. And it's a simple thing. It's so simple, our mission. If we just go through all the material stuff and let it all just fade from our eyes and just think simply, why are we here? What do we know that is going to happen for sure? Simply, we're all going to die one day. Simply, isn't it true? Just got to make it so clear to yourself. Can you take anything with you? Make it really clear. Can any of us take anything with us? Any of us. But be really clear, yeah? You can't. So, and notice where all your problems start from. Just notice. If you just get to the cause of all your problems, you'll make life so easy and spiritual living even easier. Where do all your problems come from? I want this because I think it's going to make me happier. I think this person should be mine, the possessiveness, the wanting. That person will die one day. Or you may die before then. It's all this wanting of things that are outside of us that keeps us. Hello, Katya. Come on in, and dear, a long time. It's been a long time. Oh, please, come in. Come in. It's so long. The last time I saw you was just after you had your baby. You was around 8 years.
3 years.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Sorry we are late.
No problem. Don't worry. Diego, come. He can sleep here. We have children today. It's Bianca and Kian and Karun, right? Yeah. So I'll let them be comfortable. Are you comfortable on the floor?
No English.
Lo siento. ¿Ustedes es cómodo en el suelo?
Sí.
Sí, no hay problema. So, anyway, so that is the spiritual work, and it has to be done by ourselves. Make this really clear to yourself. We talk about great masters, and I would not be sitting here living in this world so happily if it wasn't for my beloved Master Sri Swami Satchidananda. What did he give to me? The most important thing that I learned from him was the way he lived his life. It was his presence. And what caused this great presence and what caused this great energy was the way he actually lived. And by watching him, I thought, I really would like to be like him. So I spent many of the first years trying to imitate him. But I realized later on, One, I'm not a man. Two, I'm not a monk. Three, I have children and now 5 grandchildren. So I need to be like him in the way he lives. But I could never be him. But how do I become like him? That search took me 12 years by itself. Because a lot of people, when we start with spiritual knowledge, we think we have to appear a certain way, we have to be a certain way, we have to give up everything. Some people need to do that. Some people do need to do that, but most of us don't. You have to give up your attachment to everything. And it's very difficult. Some people cannot. They cannot because they're too attached. So those are the people who maybe have to give up everything to learn a little bit of detachment. But if you can accept that nothing is yours and everything is going to go, if you can truly accept that, then you can understand non-attachment can come easily. Nothing is mine. You just have to repeat it every single day of your life. You know, as all the great masters say, neti, neti. Not this, not that. Can I take this with me? Why am I fighting with somebody over a cushion, or a handbag, or a shoe, you know, a computer, or a toy? Why am I arguing about this? Can I take any of this with me? No. Let them enjoy it when they have it. When the time comes, it'll all be gone anyway. So desires are not wrong if they don't control you. Nothing is wrong, actually. The problem starts is things start to control you. You lose your freedom. And then constantly remind yourself, who am I? Who am I? Do I really want to lose this freedom? Do I really want to lose this joy? I mean, God can only know God as Nalanie and me, right? And only know God in Katya as Katya. And only know God in Sandra as Sandra. Do you know what I'm saying? We're all individual people. And you know, one of the great things, before we talk on the subject, live to love, love to serve, that really made me realize this was when I had my granddaughter. I think some of you have already heard this story. My first grandchild, my daughter invited me to the birth. And I was sitting there and the nurse said, "Don't interfere, mothers always interfere." I said, "Don't worry, I'll just sit back. I won't make a fuss." And anyway, when I watched my daughter give birth, I mean, she didn't have epidural or anything, it was a natural birth. And she was there taking that big, huge breath. And I saw the baby come up. You know, because in your own birth you don't really see it. At least in my time I couldn't. You're too much in pain as well, right? And here I saw this huge breath, and I saw this creation before my eyes, and I suddenly understood the Bible. I suddenly understood when it said, "And then the Lord God took the dust from the ground and created man and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life." The breath of life. And I said, this is why we're here. Creation, beauty, love, the feeling to see creation in a human form is the highest form. And that's why we all feel so happy when a baby is born, naturally, because it's the highest form of creation. Of this world, it's the highest form. Can anybody create anything more beautiful than a human being? And you know, in the spiritual world, they say, you're so lucky if you have a human body. Why? Because in a human body is the only place you can self-realize. What do you mean by self-realize? Animals can't self-realize. And if they can, they can't analyze their thoughts. Although now that I have a dog, I wonder sometimes. And I'm really not a dog person, but this dog has come to teach me so much. You know, sometimes I look at her face and I just go, "Oh my God, you're like a baby to me," you know. But they don't have They can't make decisions for themselves in the sense of like we can. We want to create, we want to build, we can invent. They can't do all those things. So having a human mind and a human body, we can do all those things. And anyway, going back to that story, when I saw the birth of my grandchild, I actually, prior to that, I always thought, why am I a householder? Why do I have to worry about things? Why can't I give up everything, go to the mountains, become a monk, And who wants any of it anyway? I just want to be free. And then I called my master. He was still alive at that time. It was 2000. He died 2002. I said, Gurudev, I realized something great today. I had a realization. He said, what, Nalanie? I said, I realized that God wanted to know how beautiful this feeling was to watch creation. God wanted to experience this emotion in me. Because I just felt so connected with God, universe, whatever you want to call it, forget the words. I know a lot of people don't like the word God, doesn't matter. Universe, divinity, divine grace. That feeling, that magical feeling when you're connected. You know it when you feel it. And it was like, oh my God, nothing matters. Now I understand why I am born, why I had to be a grandmother, why I had to have children, why I had to go through all this. And besides, how can I be speaking to people like you who are householders if I haven't gone through it myself? How can I tell you if I had gone away to the mountains, hey, you can find God in you, you can understand it, you can laugh with it, you can just totally be you and send every message up or down or inside, wherever you feel it, or to the person. You can see the divine in everyone. It's magical, Of course, you can't tell this to everybody because they think you're mad, but there's no need to. Because when you live in that connection, you don't need to tell it to anyone because they can feel it and you can feel it, and that's the joy of it. That's the joy of spiritual practice. It's not what you hear, oh, non-attachment, give up everything, but I really like this handbag, or I really like this. Enjoy it. But no, tomorrow may be gone. Don't worry about it. You got it today, enjoy it, say thank you. And tomorrow if it's gone, gone. No problem, I still got my body, I still got 2 eyes, I still got hands that can work. And that's what and this is really, that kind of thinking puts you in a mode of service. Because what happens? Then you start to realize that energy that is in you, 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 is in everyone. Everybody has that. The only difference is their thought patterns, the thinking. Not feeling, I can't do it, somebody else has to do it for me. It's kind of blocked. We block ourselves. But how do you go on this journey? Why do we say live to love? Love to serve, because the secret word here is love. We're not talking about the love between male, female, although that can be so incredibly spiritual, but we're talking about an unconditional love. It's kind of, since they're here today, I'd love to mention this because this is one of the most beautiful things I'd ever witnessed in my life. Was once we were doing a retreat in Sevilla. And at the, Audrey remembers this, wasn't that some vision that you will never forget? And we had Katya and Diego, and at the end of a retreat, on the last day, everybody in the retreat has to do something, either a poem or write something or anything they want. It was up to them. So these two stood up, touched each other's heart. Oh, Michelle. It was really quite touching. Something like this, right? And you tell them what you did.
Wow. What we did is something that actually we do since then, before and until yesterday. We have to do it this night. That is a prayer that we did we compose it. It's a specific prayer for Diego, me and our canoe, and we pray every night our own pray. And that's what we wanted to show them, the way we pray each other. In those days, Karen was not...
But we did it at Mastakam. We also chant the song
Yes.
at
Yes.
Mastakam, the song
Yes.
of the soul.
The Song of the Soul. This is what I wanted to get to. They were singing the Song of the Soul. I see, more or less, I see the goddess in you, I see the God in me, and chanting in Sanskrit. And any relationship, if you work from that premise of unconditional love, no matter what kind of problems you have, because all relationships have problems, all of them, you cannot escape that. It's normal, two human beings together. But if you can work from the premise that you are divine, sometimes your head's a bit messed up, but you are divine, you know. Sometimes I'm a bit messed up, forgive me, but I'm divine. I forget, I become human sometimes. So you need the humility, you see. It's so precious, humility. Our problem is today that we can't serve and we can't love because we don't know how to say, I did something wrong, I'm sorry, full stop. We can't say simple things like that. Why should I say sorry? That person. Okay, you want to be miserable and live a life of arguments? Go ahead, it's your choice. It really is your choice. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but if you want to be happy, I tell you there's a way to be happy. Humility. Today I'm wrong, tomorrow you're wrong. It's like that with human beings, isn't it? But recognize that there's a divine in you. And our master used to say, when you go into a relationship, remember one thing. Make sure you yourself are spiritually full of love. Don't come from a needy place. Because if you are so full of love, the person you will attract will be so full of love. Because you will vibrate on that energy level. So fix yourself first. Today, many relationships don't work. Why? Because people go on, you know, for the wrong reasons. You know, it's like lust and passion, and after a year, oh my God, it's all gone. Build it on firm foundation. And this is where, you know, we have to really respect ourselves first and foremost. The saying, live to love, love to serve, is very easy to say. But really to live like that, you have to really understand that everybody is divine. How do you do that practice? Understanding everybody is divine. Like I said, I can say, I know you're divine. Tomorrow somebody argues with you. No, I thought you thought they were divine. Why are you so upset? React to the problem, but don't take it personally. We live in a world. There will be problems. You will get times when people will test you. Normal, normal, normal. It's gonna happen. The spiritual practice is transcending it, going beyond it, watching it from a distance. Okay, I love this person, but this person's mind is messed up. So I will deal with the problem like a doctor, even in myself. If I go through a bad mood or a silly mood, I don't have much of them these days, but in the early days of practice, I look at myself as if I was somebody else. I tell them, stop that nonsense. Do you listen to that thought? Do you really need it? It's going to make your day miserable. Do you need it? No, I don't need it. What's keeping you attached to that mood or that horrible feeling that you have? Does it make you happy? No, it doesn't make me happy. So I watch myself. So if it doesn't make you happy and is making you miserable and everybody around you miserable, why are you holding on to it? Big ego. Have to be right. And you talk to yourself like that, as you would do with other people's minds. And just by doing that, you stop yourself from reacting in a way that you would be ashamed of later. And that is a service to mankind. Just that is a service to mankind. It's a service to the person who's living with you. It's a kindness that you're giving out. It's living to love and loving to serve should be every single second of our life. It's just not doing good deeds because I'm, going to write you a check and charity easy. Anybody can do that. That's not what it's about. If we're living in a world and we have money, good. Let us give to everyone. But living to serve is giving out these really loving to serve, these wonderful vibrations. Because why? Vibrations go very far. Look at all the great masters. What do they give up? We call it darshan. What does darshan mean? Living in the light. By their light, it reflects your light inside of you. You're reminded, I am soul. You're reminded, I am divine. And they remind you. That's what happens. And then you're really good for a week or two until you forget again. And that's why we have satsangs regularly every week, and that's why I've been doing it for like 20 years now, if not more. You know, why? For what reason? Because it's so magical, and I think people got it so wrong. You know, we got it so wrong. We think we can't have this connection with God. We think we can't have this for ourselves. And there's some wrong thinking here. We all can. We can all feel that joy, that light within, that humanity for each other. And living to love, loving to service, starting with yourself. Trying to behave in a way on a daily basis that makes you like you, simply. You know, I used to say, oh, I love my master. What qualities do I like in him? What qualities? Straightforward. He was never a hypocrite. Didn't like anything. He didn't like it. He just, that's it. I always knew I did something wrong with that look. You just had to look and I go, oh, but I was very smart. I was a good student, you know. Thank God for that. I really thank God for that, because I see many people don't do this. I say, Gurudev, tell me. I want to know what I did wrong. And he would laugh. He said, you know. I said, I was a bit negative, wasn't I? I said, you know. So what do you do about it? Okay, I'll watch it. Do you know? But you know right away, just that look, you know. And okay, so straightforwardness, no hypocrisy. He wasn't out to people please. Everybody loved me, everybody. I never saw that in his behavior. He wasn't trying to gather disciples, they just came. So that was one thing that I loved about him. Another thing is generosity. I saw how in India he would have thousands of people, because I went to India to see him there. Thousands upon thousands. And I saw him in the ashram in America with all the people questioning in a very rude way. And you know, in India we're very respectful to spiritual masters. And I asked him once, I said, Gurudev, why? When you could have everything here, your family's so wealthy, they'll look after you, you're such a great guru, would you give up all that to come to the West and, you know, to get some of the nonsense and, you know. And he said to me, oh, Nalanie, who's going to look after these children if I stay in India? Who are going to look after my children? These are my children, they need me. And most of the children that he had, prior to finding him, used to be on drugs, hippies of that area. And now they're all great monks, great people, great human beings, you know. And that's the wonderful thing, you know. So again, that generosity. Then he came to America, and he would tell us, you know. So when he first came, they invited him to America. He was in Sri Lanka. And he had all these hippies around him, and they would be like this. So, Swami, tell me something about yoga. That was the 70s in the States, right? And he laughed, and he transformed them all. Wow. So that wonderful love, that non-judgment, you know, because so many times in spiritual schools now, you know, like I talked about earlier on, it's all about how much money you have and what you can afford. He took everybody in. It didn't matter to him. And from nowhere, when he was brought to New York, the actual government of the United States at that time granted him a visa, permanent visa and residentship in America for all the good deeds he was doing. So, and then he brought all the different religions together by claiming truth is one, paths are many. A total acceptance. It doesn't matter if you have a religion or you don't have a religion. It's irrelevant. I love you as God. But if you have a religion, I respect it. Yoga is not about changing your religion. Yoga is being the most of your religion, the best you can. If you're a Catholic, be a brilliant Catholic, because you know Jesus was a yogi, don't you? Totally. He wasn't a Catholic. He was Jewish. He broke every tradition in the Jewish tradition. He didn't have blue eyes and blonde hair. He probably had dark skin like me and dark eyes, you know? So we're not told the truth, and we fall into these traps and we think, he never said you're going to hell. I never saw it once in the New Testament, did you? What did he say? They will know you as my disciple by the way you love each other. By the way you love each other. They will know you as my disciple. That's the same way my master acted, with this generosity of spirit. Anyway, soon he got lots of donations, and one of the big donors at that time was my family from Hong Kong. And then he built the whole ashram himself, and Carol King was one of his great devotees, bought the land for him. Anyway, the ashram is built, and I saw another thing. It all came from him, and he was feeding everybody in the ashram. He was giving all these monks homes. And one time when I went, much later on, when I made him my guru as such, and I heard one of the monks complaining, "Oh, that guru, who does he think he is?" I turned around and said, "Excuse me, Swamiji, you were talking about the person who's his whole, everything, all the money and donations that go to all of you to create this place. Where would you be without him? So please do not speak about my master that way in front of me." You see that real giving, that real generosity, that real, I just thought, and on top of it, his own disciples are speaking so badly about him, and he knows it, but he just accepted it all. He loved it all anyway. And that's what I think, I love that unconditional love that I saw, that no judgment. Just give love and give the teachings to take you to that place of no judgment. When you're in that place of no judgment, automatically you want to help everybody. You just feel like serving, and it comes from the joy of your heart. And when you don't feel that joy coming from your heart, you will also not feel guilty to say no. Because you realize that you also are part of that God. And if you are exhausted and you're not feeling well, and you feel guilty because I have to serve someone, I have to do my good deed, are you really serving anyone? You're not. You see, a lot of people don't understand that. I see a lot of people go to spirituality, oh, they need my help, I have to go, and I don't really want to go, but I must be good. Who stays? And then they get guilty, and there's a lot of mess in that relationship because everything is obligation and not joyous giving. Joyous giving is you do it and you don't think any more of it. That's it. It's done, finished. You got the joy from it. You don't want anything in return. Not even somebody to say you're a good person. And you certainly don't push yourself in service. My master taught me that lesson. You know, in early days when I first started practicing, came once to Gibraltar, and at that time he had already told me to teach, and I was teaching, but I was a novice, and a lot of people came to me for help. A lot of people just started piling up in my office, so help this, help that, help this, help that. So I was going to the airport with him too. He was taking a flight from Malaga. So I'm talking, oh, Gurudev, I've done this, you know, out of the innocence of thinking I was doing it. And then when we get to the airport in Malaga, he turned around just before he's going to embark. He says, Nalanie, learn one thing. You can help no one. Help yourself. At that time I didn't understand. I just cried the whole journey home. My husband thought, this girl, she's spiritual, don't know what's happened to her. You know, this is what spiritual makes her cry and do all this stuff. You know, why is she doing it? But I learned a very deep lesson there. A very, 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 very important lesson when you talk about service. And what I learned was, simply, it's true, I can't really help anyone unless I help myself first. I was coming from a place where I am doing this for someone. Do you see? There is a me and there's a you. There was I, Nalanie, so strongly. And that one statement changed my whole vision. I go, who is Nalanie? Who gave her this job anyway? You know, why do I think I can help people? Why am I pushing myself to help people? Maybe they don't want my help. Why am I doing it? I'm pushing myself because I want something for me. I want to be called a good teacher. Even wanting that is disastrous, as I learned later on. Because some students will love you and the next week they'll go and they'll hate you and they'll say things about you, and this is the way it is. And over the years I've learned that. Yeah, that you think this student is wonderful. Next day they're making stories about it. Go, where did that happen? You know, it's happened to me so many times in my life that now I just go, wow, thank you for another reminder. Don't get attached. Thank you, God. I love it. These people are great friends to me. I pray for them the most in my life. Isn't it awkward? But it's true, because thank God without that learning, then you start to think, I want to help because I want to appear good. And this is a trap that many spiritual people fall into. Watch out for it. It's called the spiritual ego. Beware of it. Because once you're trapped in, I am the teacher and you my student, then every time the student grows better than you, there is a jealousy, there is an anger, there is a fight. You don't want to get into all that nonsense. You know, I say better not to be spiritual if that's going to happen. But nowadays this happens a lot in spirituality. It's like a competition. It's not. Being in spirit means you're just loving your life. You just want to live for the joy of it. And when pain comes to your life, you want to embrace the pain so that you don't cause anybody any harm by your pain. So you embrace pain. You learn to live with it. Pain teaches us many, many things. Today I had a long conversation with somebody I know who's suffering a lot of pain because her body is very sick. You know, she's slightly anorexic and lots of problems anyway. And I was speaking to her and I said, you know, she says, Nalanie, how is it that when I'm in so much pain, it's when I feel the closest to the divine, you know? And then when I go back out in the world, again, I lose this connection. So I lose it again. Why does this happen? Why? It doesn't mean I have to be sick. I said, take that thought out of your head. You fixed your head in a box and you're staying in sickness thinking that. I said, the secret is, you see, out in the world, there are challenges. While you sick in your room, there's just you and nobody else, so you have to talk to someone. And that is the divine. But out in the world, there are people. And you're too sensitive, you're not courageous. You're frightened to get hurt. You're frightened of what people, what if they think this about me? What about, I said, do you know where your illness is starting from? There's so much fear there of what people think of you. If you could transcend that and think they're all God, they're all diamonds, problem is their minds aren't. And then you won't take what they say personally. They're human. What can you do? So when you learn to do that, you'll feel God everywhere and you'll no longer need to be sick anymore. You want that connection so badly that you think you have to fall sick to feel it. So you see how the mind gets us all entrapped in so many they're all thought patterns. Divine is everywhere, everywhere. Everywhere, in everything, in the television, in the photo, everything. In science, if you study science, it says everything has consciousness. We just vibrate at a different level. And that brings us back to living to love, loving to serve. How do we vibrate at this higher level? The qualities I spoke about. Living with those qualities. Truthfulness, non-violence, unconditional love, not only for the world, but for yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you cannot give anything. And how do you love yourself? Starting to right at the beginning when I said, learning to respect yourself. So I learned if I really wanted to live to love and love to serve, the first place I would have to start is respecting who I was. Quite a simple thing to learn. What didn't I like about myself? First thing, what don't I like about me? I know that when I'm selfish, I'm not happy. I found out that when my thoughts was, I want this or I want that, and why can't I have it, and why can't this be my way? I was unhappy. So as soon as I could recognize those things, then I'd start to build up things that did make me happy. When I made somebody smile, it made me happy. Sometimes when I had to sacrifice some days for my daughter or my son, instead of complaining, it made me happy that I didn't complain for the day. It made me so happy, and to be able to do it, to be useful for my family, without thinking, oh, my husband's taking me, I have to cook, I have to clean, which was where I started from. It's a joy to serve you, God, in the form of my husband. It's a joy to serve my children, and in the form of my children for God. It's just, and that changed from being so selfish, which made me so unhappy. In other words, why don't you do it for me? Marriage was a business. You do this and I do this. When I swapped that over, it was no longer a business. I'm doing it for God. I'm doing it for the divine. What happens to the other person when they get that kind of energy? What happens to them? First, they don't trust you first. One time it's too little. You have to keep repeating it. But they melt. They just melt. Because when you're not shouting and screaming and I want this and I want that and I need this to be happy, I need this, what happens? But I'm so happy to make you happy. Instead of them coming home and saying, what happened to you? I need love, I need this. No. Did you have a good day? Are you happy? Sit down, relax. Let's have a chat. Nothing is too much. You change, and that's service. Where do you start service but in your own home? Why do you want to serve the world and you've got a miserable home? Does it make any sense? How many people I see do that? Outside, very nice to everybody. Come home, it's so war, it's hell. Make your home your heaven first. And when you start to make your home a heaven, that energy will vibrate. People will feel your energy by itself. They'll ask you. This is how I started to teach. I was working in a shop with my husband. Prior to that, I was working in a shop with my husband when I started before yoga. There's a saying, a Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chopping wood, you know it, and collecting water. After enlightenment, chopping wood and collecting water. So I was very unhappy working in a retail trade because it was never what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an art therapist. So, but I did it because my children needed a living. It was my husband's business and I was just good at his job. And I did it, but I complained. So I was like, ooh, after I practice yoga, I love the job. I just love, this is what I've got, I'm going to love it. I'm so grateful to be able to work, to give my children the best schools. My son went to Eton, my daughter went to Benedict. I was so happy I could do that for them. So the job didn't change. I changed. But the moment I changed enough, guess what? People started coming to my shop. I was selling retail, high fashion, Louis Vuitton, Marbella, all that kind of stuff. And my customers came and asked me, you've changed. What do you do that's different? Oh, I started a little meditation, I have a spiritual, I want to learn. You look peaceful. I want to have what you have. Oh, I'm not a teacher. I really am not a teacher. I'm just learning. And this is how it happened. And then my master called from America, when are you going to start teaching? No, I'm a student. Anyway, it took 1 year and then I finally did it and I never stopped from that day. So what happened was when I learned to love where I was and serve where I was, living to love, loving to serve. Service was serving where I was. Each client was God. Each client was divine. It wasn't easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It was a lot of practice. I practiced every morning. I practiced every second. And when people would irritate me in the early days like they really used to, I would have little books in my pocket. Little sayings from my master or Mother Teresa or Master Shivananda or Brahmanji Yogananda. I used to have a collection of them. I put them in my pocket, I put them in my handbag, I had them sticking in my bathroom, I had them in my bedside, everywhere. And I used to go to the bathroom, take a deep breath, because that's the only place I could be alone when you're working in a shop, you know. Take out this paper and read it, and just read, let go. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I used to be, say that. Accept the things I cannot change. Okay, Nalanie, accept. So by the time you go out, after 2 minutes, all that anguish is gone. Okay, you have come to train me to love you unconditionally. Thank you for being my teacher. I wouldn't say it to them, but I would think that. And that was my training. That was my training. And I trained myself every time I made a mistake. It was really a great mistake because I realized it made me unhappy. So who was making me unhappy? Myself. So how do I get in connection with the divine source? When I am happy, when I'm joyful, when I'm serving the world, when I'm not thinking I want, it's all about me, I am totally in bliss. Because I can communicate with God all the time. And then I understood the Upanishads, which is they're great books. If you haven't got them, get them. And I've brought something, it's there. Something today to read to you when I finish. What does it keep calling this God? The Lord of Love. The Lord of Love. And then you think about it. When are you all happy? When is everybody happy? When they're in love. Like I said, God wanted to know God in me when I saw that birth of my grandchild. Seeing that birth. Who could experience that joy and bliss if I didn't have a human body? That's why I have a human body. And that's why I was created, to live in this bliss. I wasn't created to be miserable and locked away. This is my human personality. So we all have to follow our human personality and develop these qualities in us the best we can be. In the Bhagavad Gita it says so clearly, Lord Krishna's representation of the divine energy, tells his disciple Arjuna, wherever you see excellence, you see me. It also says, perfection in action is yoga. That's service. If you do everything with a form of service, it becomes perfection in action. You make a cup of tea. If you do it with focus and concentration, I am making a lovely cup of tea. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. The joy of doing that is enough. You don't need anybody to say you're good or bad. You just say, thank you for giving me the opportunity to make this cup of tea for you so that I can enjoy this Om Namah Shivaya. It's in the simple things that you find the divine. It's not fancy. Enlightenment is not, oh, there's a God that comes down and says, I'm here, you're enlightened. Anybody tells you that, don't believe it for a second. Don't believe it for a second. For us, house elders, it's a gradual process of awakening. Enlightenment is awakening. Awakening to who I really am. And it takes a little time and practice. And that's what we have to put in. That's what all of us have to put in. We all need to rush and do this quick. Because our world is suffering. Our world is really suffering because I've never seen so much selfishness. everybody, it's just everywhere I go. What's your problem? I can't have this and I can't have that and I want the perfect, I want that perfect relationship. I want this, I want that. There's no such a thing as perfection in this world. Don't you understand? We live in a world of duality. There is going to be pain, there's going to be pleasure. Always. The yogi's job is to transcend it by watching it. Be observant. And so that you don't get caught in it, live a life that is full of service in everything you do, simply, in everything you do. From the way you dress, from the way you iron your clothes. Do it with love, do it with attention. You know, the Japanese talk about, you know about Japanese tea parties, right? How they make the tea very slowly. All of you know it? Yeah. It's a form of meditation. Because many people can't meditate sitting down like this, so they make tea, the tea ceremony, they call it, very slowly. Your Skype is on. So, and just to focus, just to be aware, just to be awake. And of course, when you're in that awakened spirit, and all of us have had days like this when we walk on the beach or we go walking on the mountains or you see a baby's face or whatever, you get this feeling of that surge of love that fills your soul. It fills you. And that's when you know that's the feeling. That's bliss. But at the same time, you also know it's so wonderful to experience it, but tomorrow may be gone. It may be gone. So the fact that you know that tomorrow may be gone makes you even enjoy the moment more. Many times I've had couples come to talk about their partners, and I ask them, if you knew that your partner was going to die tomorrow, would you still be so angry with them? No, Nalanie, of course not. What you're telling me, do you think that they might die tomorrow? I said, no, but the possibility is we can all go at any time. How would you treat them? And I know that because my husband had 6 weeks notice and he passed. So I was lucky I had 6 weeks notice to prepare. And after 34 years, you need to prepare. And at that point, does anything, all the wrongs in the 34 years, did it make a difference? Absolutely not, because the love was stronger than anything. All those arguments and fights were part of what made us as a couple. What made us as parents, what made us as human beings, what made us realize what we didn't like in ourselves anymore. We realized that that's what we didn't like. There was a better way of communication, there was a better way of loving, there was a better way of being. Both of us realized that. And he certainly realized that the last 6 weeks. And he said, I wish I had listened to you. I said, don't worry now, don't go back. The last 6 weeks is enough. Because sometimes he did think I was a bit kooky. You talk to God, you talk to this. And of course he seemed, but then I think in the end he realized when he told his friends, I found out that he told his friends all the time that he loved what I was doing, but he never told me till the last 6 weeks. So that's it. What do you do? I loved him unconditionally, and he loved me unconditionally. But what I'm saying here is, this is how service starts. Elena, again, thank you for choosing a lovely subject. Live to love, love to serve. And when you fix yourself and, you just make yourself happier, if you are so happy, do you need anything for yourself? Nothing, right? And you're so happy, do you ask, I want something? You just say, Sri Patanjali tells us by the practice of contentment, do you remember I told you that last time? Supreme joy is gained. Supreme joy when you practice contentment. So if you're happy, you're overflowing. So what do you do with the overflow? You have so much to give. You don't want to save it for yourself. You don't want to say, oh, well, I've got this knowledge, I can't give it to you. You can't, because you're overflowing. You want to give it all away. You say, yeah, come on, join me, let's be happy. That's the spirit. That's what all these masters did. All of them. They just overflowed and gave of their knowledge. That's what they did. Do as I do. Isn't that what Lord Jesus said? Do as I do. But what do? We use his name in vain. Blowing up places in the name of God. Shame on us. None of the traditions have said that. None of the traditions have said that. People have done that. Power, ego. And God forbid it happens in the yoga world as well. But I see that it's happening now too. And it makes me very sad. Nothing belongs to us. If we can enlighten every soul by our joy, by making the day better, that is enough service for all of us to do. That's enough. Wherever you're working, wherever you're walking, not to disturb the space of the divine by being angry. You can control all these things. It is possible if you're willing, if you want peace enough. It's really up to you. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. Do I want it enough? Do I want to be peaceful enough? Do I want to be spiritual enough? And all I can tell to people is, what else would you have to do with your life? At the end, every course you take, every history lesson, every geography, any course, doctorate, this, that, comes to a full stop when you die. Oh God, you leave it all behind here. But what you take is your soul. And that is a great insurance. Live a good life. And at the moment when you die, bye everyone, I'm ready to go. Because we all have to do that. There's no one that's exempt, right? I lived a great life. I did my best, I made my mistakes, I fell down many times, but I picked myself up. I wasn't weak, I was strong. I spoke up when things were wrong. I fought for which that was right. I used my time to give, love, serve. I did not think that all my time was just about me, me, me. I did not fill my home with fancy stuff and just me, me, me. I gave of my life. I gave of my presence. Thank you for giving me this. And go. How easy. Job done. But don't you see that people who really serve are so fulfilled anyway? Isn't it true? They're just so happy anyway. Like I said, my spiritual master was always telling jokes, unless he was teaching us. Poor guy, I felt sorry for him. You know, he could have been so happy without us around to bother him with silly, silly problems, you know. He had it all. But like he said, who would look after my children? And I'm very grateful that he came from India and came to the West and came to Hong Kong and traveled all over the world to give that knowledge. I'm so grateful for it. Because it's the knowledge of what makes us human beings. You see, in this world we live today, God is a bad word. Because so many wars are fought in the name of God. Really, poor God, nothing to do with it. Also, indoctrination. You do something bad, you're going to go to hell. What rubbish. Where is hell? Hell, my father told me a few weeks before he passed away, he said, darling, we want you to learn this. Well, hell, heaven and hell are here. So please make your life a heaven. It's here, on this earth. There's no judgment when you die. It's just karmic. Every action brings a reaction. So if you die and you leave a lot of bad here, just come back and do it again and again and again. But hell is here. And if you do good, you just come back again and get more good and more good. And the transcendental state is, thy will be done, whatever it is when I die. Whatever it is. You know, and I realize that, because many people in spirituality always say as well, let this be my last life. And that's how I started too. Dear God, I want to do all this. I have something. You see, I have a business deal with God. Let this be my last life. Because the earth is a painful place to come back to sometimes. So, and one day I was reading Swami Vivekananda. Have you read Swami Vivekananda, any of you? Well, read his life story. It's beautiful. Read the lives of these great saints. That really you learn so much from them. Anyway, I was reading his life story, and in his early time, he said, let this be my last life. Let this be my last life. And then finally, towards near his death, it just changed. Because he had done so much service in his life. And he said, "Dear Lord, do whatever you like with me. But if you bring me back to this earth, one thing, never let me forget who I really am. Never let me forget who I really am. And then I can serve with this great love. I'm happy to come back." And that really showed me the height of service. The height of service. Anyway, as if we can make plans for our other life. All we can do is this life. And let us do it well. And service makes us happy. When we serve ourselves, we do nice things for ourselves, it makes us happy. But if we do it just for ourselves all the time, after a while it gets a bit monotonous. It gets a bit boring. How many things can you get for yourself? After all, don't you find that people, when they buy too much stuff and they get to it, it's so much clutter? Do you feel that? Ugh. I came back from Bangkok recently this summer, and my sisters are very kind. They all give me lots of lovely clothes and things. And I just felt, it's too much stuff. Sis, it's too much stuff for me. So I got the new things and give away 5 of the old ones, you know. So much stuff, so much stuff. It's like too much to think about, you know. When there's enough to think about, just being a better person, just living, just enjoying the day. I don't want more clothes to iron or more stuff to clean. Because I'm fussy and I can eat home, so keep it simple. That way I won't have too much. Simplicity. Simplicity makes you so happy and makes you so peaceful. Don't clutter our lives with things and thoughts. Give away. Give away. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. You know, when my husband passed away, we had many antiques from the shop, because his shop was like from 1860 in Gibraltar. Anyway, we sold the business. It lost all its money. But we kept all these antiques. All these antiques in a storeroom. What am I going to do with it? It made me sick even to look at it. And so one of my friends from Barcelona, I had this old carved desk. I called her, "Can I bring it up to Barcelona to you? I really don't like antiques. It's going to cost a fortune." I said, "What is money?" I said, "Haven't you learned from me? You enjoy it, have it." And then somebody liked a ring I had, diamond ring. "You have it. You have it." It was such a great feeling. Declutter. I tell you, it's fabulous. Because it's so nice to see people enjoy it while you're alive. When I'm dead, it's too late. I can't watch my children enjoy things. You know, now I have this new home. I tell my children, it's yours. When I die, do what you like. You want to live in it? Live in it. You want to sell it and get the money? Sell the money, get the money. You want it now? You take it over? The only thing is I won't have enough to buy a small apartment. Will you do that for me? Tell them straight. "No, Mom, please live here." But it is true. And it gives you a sense of freedom. This freedom, this I can breathe. Nothing is strangling me. Nothing is strangling me. I'm free. I'm free to love. I'm free to care. I'm free to do all those wonderful things. Because there's nothing binding in it. Nothing is mine. Everything is on loan. You're on loan. I see you this hour and I don't see you for months. So does it matter? No. What matters is now. This energy, this time, this joy together, this, gathering in the spirit of humanity, gathering in the spirit of the divine energy, just being in that energy. That's what's so lovely. And no amount of money can pay for this feeling. Lord Jesus said, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am here too. Because how can we understand this heart thing unless we don't experience it? My words are nothing. That's not important. It's the energy that we have in this room. It's the love that we feel that will build up our world to be a better place. Because vibrations travel much further than anything else. So the vibration of love will build a lot of energy around this area. And if all of us feel the same way, it just raises. You know that. You walk in a room where everybody's peaceful and happy, you leave peaceful and happy. You walk in a room where everybody's selfish, you leave in a bad mood and you become selfish. There's a Buddhist story about that. There was this Buddhist monk who was invited to this house for dinner. So he takes with him a few of his disciples. And one of his disciples was a novice, a young boy who just came to be a monk. Anyway, the owner of the house invites them all. They have a very nice lunch. Then on the way back to their monastery, suddenly they hear clang, and the young novice had dropped a handkerchief that was filled with silver knives and forks. And the other monk said, "He's a thief! Buddha, he's a thief! Look at him! Hey, he's a monk, how can he be a monk?" And the master laughed, and he said, "This boy is a novice, he's not strong enough yet. What happened? The owner of that house himself is a thief. All his wealth is gained through dishonest means. As a novice and not prepared, he walked there and he felt the vibrations of the thief. So he forgot who he was temporarily. And the silver, because he comes from the poor family. He got the vibrations. So forgive him." And of course the novice cried and apologized and said, "What have I done? What have I done?" And it's like us. We come here on earth and we just forget sometimes. So when we're in the wrong company, we get sometimes swayed by it. We forget who we are. We just forget. And we think it's right to do the wrong things. But it isn't, because it never sits well in our heart and we don't feel happy with ourselves afterwards. And again, who do you have to live with? Who do you have to live with? You. Don't you want to go to bed at night and think, "Wow, I just had a great day, so nice to sleep. I love my bed at night. It's the most wonderful thing in the world." And don't have all these thoughts racing. I remember before I started yoga, I looked back at myself and I think I was a different human being. Racing, panic attacks, all kinds of weird things, and now I go, how did I live like that? Got to teach people how to do this. Got to teach people how to do this. How to set themselves free. We were born free. We were born free. Literally, we all born free. And our master, I loved what he said. And this is why I think I fell in love with this master. Because he said, "Your birthright is to be happy." Did you hear that? Who told you you were meant to be unhappy? Who told you that? He'd speak like that. Your birthright. But what do you have to be happy? The golden truths of all the traditions. Do good, be good, simply. And when you are like that, when you're doing good and being good, you are living in the spirit of love. You are living. And then everything you do will be a service anyway. Because if you see an old person in the street that needs help, you wouldn't even think, should I help them or shouldn't I? You just run. When you see a friend in need, you won't think, do I have to go or don't have to go? This is the beginning stages that we have to learn. But after the beginning stages, you'll just go. And you won't think, am I tired, am I not? You transcend that state. But until you get to the transcendental state, you have to deal with the state of your human personality. At this moment, I can't do it. So let me go through the process of cleaning up my own house so I can get to the state where I don't even have this thought pattern in my brain anymore, where it's disappeared. And it's a lifetime's work, which just makes it so much fun. And when it's a lifetime's work, all you need is this instrument with you, yourself. You just need this, nothing else. You don't need any medication. You really even don't need any books. In the beginning, I read a lot and I got very confused. Totally confused. Didn't understand the meaning of service. Like my master said, you can't help anybody. I really didn't. I read so many books, so many books. So I called my master one day. I said, Gurudev, I don't understand. I read this book and this master says do it this way. I read this book and this master says do it this way. And this one, and I'm so confused. Stop reading. Study life. And then I started my study of life and people and myself. Just correcting my wrongs was a huge job. Still is every day. I pray in the morning, dear God, just don't let me harm anything today. Just let me bring good. May every breath be a mantra. May every word I bring out benefit someone. Good or bad, it's to benefit. Doesn't matter if I have to scold them. If it's to bring them up, let me do it. Don't let me think about me. Think about the benefit of that feeling of freedom. But let me do what is truthful, what is kind. And then the day goes so beautifully. I can't explain it. Today I was speaking to Audrey and she's grown leaps and bounds. Yeah, she was telling me, I know personally some people have caused her a lot of harm. And she goes, oh, but it doesn't matter. I've forgiven it and I still love them. And with such ease. And with such ease. You feel sincerity, don't you? You just know it. With such ease she said that. And I go, whoa, now you are really practicing yoga. Because you're joyful and you've forgiven and there's nothing in your head. You're bringing up your son well. You're doing your duty, first duty to your children. We bring them in this world, doing your duty. You're not begging, she's working, she's not lazy. And this service, it starts at the basic. And then when you got all the basics, yes, then go out in the world. Go to Africa. You can come with me next trip, or Nepal, or go this place, because it's excess. I have so much to give, I have to do more. So God sends me work. I don't even look for them. Projects come to us. That's another thing. You learn. People need, they'll call. You don't even have to look for it. And if they don't call and you don't have that appointment today, don't worry. God wanted you to have a day off. Great. You have a day off. And oh, it's so delicious. But I find when I have my day off, there's so much to do. I don't know where to start. So much to be. Just sit down, watch a bit of news, enjoy my cup of coffee. It's so exciting. What can be greater than that? A nice warm bath, a treat, 1.5 hours to have a bath. Wow, that's my treat. What could be more beautiful than that? Do you see where service starts? That's my service to me. Those are the things that I find so delicious. Or going out for dinner, quiet with 2 or 3 people, not having to wash dishes. That's my treat. Simple things make your life so peaceful, so wonderful. Do you see what I'm saying? Service comes there. You serve the world, you serve yourself. And that's living to, and then you feel that divine energy. It's here, the Lord of Love. It's in your heart. All the great books tell us, where's the Lord of Love? No, you all know it. Say it, Devamani. No larger than a thumb lives in the hearts of all. Deep in the hearts of all is the light of all lights. Bhagavad Gita. The radiance of Buddha shines ceaselessly in the hearts of all. Dharmapada. Again, do you hear it? Keeps repeating that this divine is in us. And how do we wake it up? Observing certain universal laws. The laws of love, the laws of truth, non-violence, non-greed. Those are our laws. Non-stealing. Don't take what is not yours. There is the laws of abundance. Believe in it, know it, and you'll get it. People who fear money will never be rich. You've seen the people who are fearless keep losing millions and comes back again very quickly. I've seen it. They have no fear. They believe in the law of abundance. There's a joy. But of course course, there's a time you have to wait and you have to do some burning and some learning. And when you're going through your burning and learning and your suffering, if you can see it as is just making you a better human being, accept the pain, accept the learning, accept the burning without hurting somebody else, that is service. That is service. In itself, it's service. Everything you restrain from hurting outwards becomes service. Anything that's not controlled and just snapped at because I want to hurt you, or I'm jealous, or I want this and you have what I want, and is disservice. That's the first place it starts. So make your life simple. Start serving at home, seeing your partners as God, your children as God, or the divine energy. And what a gift that they trusted you to look after these people. What a gift that the Creator wanted you to look after these souls, chose you. Such a gift. How much are we loved? We are so loved.